right, welcome to the next episode of Over a Pint. We're here with the team from Nutmeg Bakeshop in Newmarket. So here we got the Meg from Nutmeg.
Hi.
And then we also have Tim, who is her worse half, I guess you would call it. So why don't you guys introduce yourself?
I'm Megan. I'm the co-founder and pastry chef here at Nutmeg Bakeshop.
And I'm Tim, and I'm like the head baker here at Nutmeg.
So what are you guys drinking?
Since I am still nursing our 3-month-old, I'm going to be drinking Station Cold Brew coffee.
Yeah, and I think Andrew and I both have a Muskoka Brewery beer. Mine's a unfiltered craft lager.
Mine's an unfiltered IPA called Hazed and Confused. Named after a great movie.
Yeah, I just watched it a few weeks ago. Cheers. Cheers, Meg. Label that.
It's good. So, this is more a question for Meg at the beginning, but when did you get started with everything?
When I was partway through university in my second year, that summer, so between second and third year, I realized I just loved being in the kitchen and I missed it, and so I thought I'd try my hand at the Aurora Farmers Market and just see if it was something that I wanted to pursue professionally or not, and we loved it and we had a great summer, so stuck with it. Yeah.
You can actually go back, I was doing a few weeks ago, into our Facebook feed.
Yeah.
You go back to like 2012. You can see Meg when it's just her baking and like recipe testing, baking little like side little projects, and the farmer's market you can see like the progression.
Yeah, just offering more and more products, and then like I actually started in my parents' house. My dad and my mom, they are in the kitchen business, and they outfitted me with like basically a professional kitchen in the basement. So that was nice and super helpful. I didn't have to worry about sharing kitchen space with them, and yeah.
So it went well.
Yeah. No, and then from that to an actual brick and mortar storefront. So.
Yeah, we had a routine like when she first started the farmer's market where Thursday nights, I was working full time, but I'd go over Thursday nights and we roll pastry for butter tarts for 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
And bake those off, or I guess you bake them off on Friday, but that was like when I started with her. It was
he
just
was
Thursdays.
the muscle. Like I couldn't roll all that pastry myself, so he would come over and.
So we're doing like 12-15 dozen butter tarts for the farmer's market, which is a lot of pastry per roll.
So how much were you involved early on?
It was just Thursday nights, it's butter tart night, and then Saturdays at the farmer's market I'd help set up. So I'd come over at 6 in the morning, we'd pack up for the market, go set up, and then I loved it because I would just help her set up, and then I'd just sit back and relax for the market, have a cold brew. Yeah.
Coffee, cheddar biscuit, and a butter tart.
That was every morning.
Every Saturday morning.
That was awesome. Yeah.
So how long, because did you guys basically just do butter tarts at the beginning?
Cookies, butter tarts, and like we were doing
like bars
cupcakes and bars a little bit, but we sort of found
that was the best way to do like recipe testing, and then you could, because you did a lot of random stuff.
Yeah, like
and then
one-off
you would
specials.
throw it out there and see if people liked it.
Yeah, and we weren't even gonna do butter tarts at the beginning, but my mom insisted, Megan, you have, like everyone loves butter tarts, you have to, and
they're one of the most time-consuming things to make, and to do them properly. Like they take a long time and they're very expensive to make, so that's why we're kind of hesitating to do them.
Because you don't really, because like you guys kind of got known for a while there as being like the best butter tarts around, but you guys barely even sell them anymore, right?
Yeah,
well, we only do them to order now because if they don't sell, that's a lot of labor and ingredients that has to be thrown out. And also just like in this heat too, it's better if they're just ordered and then they're picked up and they're not, sitting in the bakery.
we didn't want to be like just butter tarts. Yeah. Because we probably could have made a lot of them and sold a lot of them, but there's a lot of other stuff I think we wanted to work on.
Yeah.
So when did you start getting involved more in like the actual like baking side of it as opposed to just helping her set up?
It was because the market you did for 3 summers before we opened the shop.
Yeah, so you helped with the butter tarts.
Yeah.
But then it wasn't until the store was open and then winter.
Yeah, like we opened in November 2014, and when that started, so I helped like with the shop a lot. Like in this, our parents did most of it, but I would help with tasks around the bakery while we were getting it set up. and then I was really the like front counter for the first few months at least.
Yeah. And you were only in on weekends because you were still
working
Monday to Friday.
But I would just like go in the back and yell at Meg and say like, we need more cookies, we need more biscuits, and I wouldn't do anything but just tell her what we needed. And
then you started doing bread.
Yeah, so bread is what I started, then croissants. I had a big baking background though, just like for 10 years before I even met Meg. I worked at a bakery in Aurora, so that's where I had that like always in my back pocket kind of, that I would like to start baking eventually, but I was still doing the full-time thing in HR.
At a bakery.
At a bakery. But yeah, so it's confusing. But there's a big manufacturing company, and that's where it was tough for me because I loved baking my whole life.
Yeah.
In high school, I was doing it for like part-time job, then after university for a couple of years full-time. But the manufacturing plant I was working at, it was a bakery, but I was in HR, so it was kind of like combining my two, I guess, passions you could say, but then I just wanted to bake all the time. Like I wasn't baking when I was there, I was in HR, so it got frustrating, so that's where I eventually decided to
so
leave.
We opened in November 2014, and then Tim joined me April.
Yeah, so 6
2015.
months I was working full-time in HR and helping Meg here before we decided, hey, I think we could probably make it work.
And we opened in November, and then we got married in December. So for that first 5 months that we were married, we never had a day off together.
Yes.
Because you were working 7 days a week, and my day off was Monday. So you were at work.
Yeah.
That was
it was insane. We got the store. We found this space in September.
Yeah.
We opened up November 1st, so that's a pretty quick turnaround. It used to be a bank. So it was a month and a...
This was a bank?
This was
Scotiabank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
These were the offices, and then next door, that was the main part of where the customers would go. Yeah. But these were offices.
So luckily Meg's parents are in the kitchen renovation business, so they had a lot of contacts and they were quick to get on it, and we gutted the place and then had to fit it for everything food related.
Yeah.
But that was a month and a half to open up, November 1st. Got married December 6th.
There's a lot of hesitation there.
Yeah, December 6th.
Don't say the wrong number. Don't say the wrong number.
My birthday's the 4th, so it's close. And then it was Christmas, which is the busiest season for a bakery, right after our wedding. And then we decided after Christmas that
we didn't even take a honeymoon until
almost
a year later. Yeah.
But the first few months were insane.
So when did you decide, okay, this is the risk I want to take of quitting my job and coming into the business full time?
I remember we got this space in September, and then throughout the renovation period, we were debating should I just quit right now and start with you full time? But we thought, okay, maybe we'll just see how long I can go working a full time job. So it's something we were discussing from the beginning, and then I think January.
Yeah, and people started to ask, oh, when are you going to do more types of bread, and when will you ever offer pastries?
Yeah, as soon as we opened, we knew there was a demand for a good bakery on Main Street that did a variety of products that weren't available. So it was, January is when we decided officially that to leave, and I think I quit in January, but I gave my company a few months notice just because I had been there for so long. I wanted to make sure it was easy on them, so it was
and you reported to my aunt.
Her aunt got the job, and she became my boss.
After you had already been
after
there.
I'd already been working there, so obviously I didn't want to ruin any relationships, personal or business. So I gave them some good notice, and then I think it was April 20th or something. I remember was one of my last days, and that was a good feeling.
So I've talked to a lot of husband-wife entrepreneurs, agents, things like that. And for a lot of them, there's that issue of do we even want to work together as a husband and wife? Mm-hmm. Do you guys ever have that debate, or is it just straight?
That was never even a concern of ours. Of course we'll work together. We love working together. Yeah,
and I've heard of those I feel in TV shows and stuff they play that out a lot.
And my parents work together, so I saw how they were successful.
I love that.
I would say the only hard thing is in the evenings I don't like to talk about work, and you kind of bring it home. So that's the only hard thing. But I mean, even if you were working a different job, you still might bring your work home with you. That's not necessarily specific.
I find because whenever
together.
I'm here, I just find that all I'm doing is baking, and just like getting everything done for the day. So I never think about the like bigger picture stuff or
Business side of it.
like creative ideas,
yeah.
and then that's when I get home. Then I kind of sit down and relax. That's when I'll bring it up with Meg. But I'm trying not to do that as much because you're here more now.
Yes.
That you're before we have several kids. There's a lot that happened in the last few years, but
It's all before.
Well, we've talked about that on other episodes too. So, like, for you having babies and owning a business, how do you guys kind of balance that of like how much time to take off? Because I've talked to people who've taken like 10 hours off, and others who still try to take a year off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with our first, I had a few weeks off.
Yeah. So she had 10 days off before her first wedding cake, and she had a C-section. So C-section, 10 days later, delivering a wedding cake
So
to
we
King
had
City.
said, okay, when we have a second, like, I'm getting at least 6 weeks off, and I think I had about 8 weeks off, which was
Yeah, so
nice.
we planned that you'd have March and April
Yeah.
off, but then she was due March 11th, so the sooner the baby came, the more time she would have off after, so
But I think
it
it
came
helps.
right on the due date, so it worked well.
It helps that we're young, we have lots of energy,
Yeah.
and our parents both, like, your parents are in Newmarket, my parents are in Aurora, so we have so much help. Like, we couldn't be doing what we're doing without, like, if our parents weren't nearby,
Yeah.
we wouldn't be able to.
Yeah.
Like, no.
They're the
Everybody.
unofficial, like, first employees of Nutmeg.
Yeah.
Like, we just would not be able to survive.
Official daycare.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's hard, like, owning your own business, it's hard not really getting a proper maternity leave, but then when you do return to work, you have that flexibility. So Tim's here super early, well, in the morning. It's really more the middle of the night, and then you're home.
I realized that I can just, like, sleep you can always cut out.
Yeah.
Because you can work on 3-4 hours sleep. So I've gotten to the point now where I think, I don't know if I can cut out much more sleep.
I think you're at your
But,
limit.
because once I come in earlier, the store is fully stocked by the time we open at 10 o'clock, which is a good thing. So customers come and everything's available. Versus before, like a couple years ago, you might have to wait till 11, 12 for things to be out. But now everything's available by the time we open. And then I can go home for lunch to be
So
with the
how
kids.
early do you have to come in to get it fully stocked for open?
Yeah. So Megan and I, when we first opened, we used to come in at like 6. I remember it'd still be light out sometimes when we were driving in. And then it progressively got like earlier and earlier.
Then it
and
was
earlier.
like 5 and then 4. Like, as we got busier, because obviously when we first opened, we didn't have a huge customer base because people,
Yeah.
I mean, we've been open 3.5 years now, and people still walk by and go, "Oh, did you just open up?" Like,
Yeah.
people, you know, it takes a while for people to hear about you. But, yeah, as more people become regular customers, Tim's been coming in earlier.
So weekdays it's 2:30,
No.
2:30 to 3. Friday, Saturday nights it's like 1 to 1:30. 1 a.m. is usually like if I want to be on time throughout the whole morning, then I got to get here by then, but it's hard sometimes.
And we do have another baker now who
Yeah.
helps, but she's not. What time does she come in?
So she comes in at 5.
5.
So she comes in at 5 Wednesday through Saturdays, stays until 3. So she's working 10-hour days to help us out. But then she has Sundays off. But she's been great.
Was it hard for you guys to delegate kind of the baking to her, or?
Yeah, that was, I think, it was mostly the Megan stuff that was passed off to our next full-time
Yeah,
baker.
so I would say it was hard because I never had to show anyone these recipes before. And I mean, baking, it is a science, but at the same time, it's also, there is an element of you just know when something looks right or when something's ready to go into the oven. So kind of having to teach somebody,
The
like-
gut feeling?
yeah, like you have the written recipe, but then also, you know, this is what it should feel like, or that's kind of hard. But Sarah's been amazing. Like, yeah.
What would you say is the hardest part with your business and having 2 young kids? And
Because she's in daycare almost full time,
Yeah.
and like Fridays she's with my parents. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
Because like it forces me to like do a work routine.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm up every day at 7, and then I pick her up, or get her up, get her ready, feed her breakfast, take her to daycare, drop her off between like 7:50 and 8. And Starbucks is on my way home. Stop there.
Coffee.
Go home.
you don't drink coffee though.
mochas.
Okay, okay, nice.
I'm
You're
like
on to
halfway,
have
yeah.
some espresso.
So it used to be I do like
Yeah.
hot chocolate
Okay.
with like whipped cream, and then people would make
Okay.
fun of me for
Yeah.
being a child. But then I was on like such short sleep for some
Yeah.
things. I'm like, all right, I gotta
Yeah.
start doing something with caffeine in it.
Mhm.
So, and someone's like, no, hot chocolate has caffeine in it. So I looked it up.
Like,
It actually has less caffeine than decaf coffee.
yeah, like trace amounts.
Yeah, so I was like, that's not true that it has it.
Like kids
Uh,
drink hot chocolate,
yeah.
so how
Yeah.
much caffeine do
So-
they have?
Yeah, I'm like, all right, I could try a mocha, and I tried it. I'm like, it's not bad.
Mhm.
So it's similar to like how when I was in high school, I didn't like beer. I just
Yeah.
drank enough of it that I started to like
Yeah,
it.
okay.
So it's like I can kind of like I used to get like whipped cream on it too to like help, and then now I don't get that.
Nice. I don't know how you would do it without any kind of coffee. Like, what was your routine before? Like when you'd wake up, what would you do to get energy?
I would just suck it up. Now a bit of it was like I'd have like a Coke, but like in my head I couldn't drink a Coke till like lunch.
Right.
So I just kind of suffered. But because I've always gotten up early for most of my jobs,
Yeah.
like 5 a.m., between like 4 and 6 a.m. for like 8 years was my normal like wake up time for work. So that I've never had a big issue. The issue for me became I'd work until midnight, try to go to bed, and then the baby's waking you up. So instead of like, and then I'd wake up at 6, like my alarm was for always 6 a.m., but I didn't have a like straight sleep from 12 to 6,
Right.
and that's when it started hurting.
Yeah.
So it's
um,
broken up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I can do like a straight 12 to 6, that's fine. Like,
Yeah.
That's all I need.
Yeah.
Now it's more like 12 and somewhere between 12 and 1 to like 7, and then
Yeah.
just get up and do the routine that way. That's not too bad. But I've never been that bad with just like my own energy, unless like I'm doing these like crazy couple weeks where it's like flying here, then flying there,
Yeah.
and because those wipe you out, and like
Catches up.
or doing like a full day presenting to people. Like
Oh, yeah.
if I on stage in front of 300 people talking, it's so much more tiring than sitting at a computer and working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it takes everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's moments that it sucks.
Yeah.
I've tested it, so I got randomly. So I went to London recently,
Mhm.
and there was a guy there. Like they gave samples from their company, and like one of them, I've only tried it once. I kind of think it worked, but it's hard to say because one more time. But it's a caffeine spray,
Oh.
Okay.
and you spray it on your neck.
Oh.
It's supposed to like. I didn't feel tired at any point
Yeah.
for a while, but I don't know if I just wasn't tired that
Yeah.
day, so I'll have to like keep trying it.
It's
Interesting.
like people use those peppermint essential oil roller
Yeah.
balls like under their nose to like
Hmm.
Yeah.
give them a little jolt.
Yeah.
I
I've
just
never
feel like those
tried
things
it,
look
but-
like those things that they put on like their nose in the morgue so they don't smell.
Yeah.
That's what I think of when I see
Yeah.
those. But yeah.
Well, I'm actually getting more sleep now that we have kids because I'm not on
Have to get
like
up early to
the baker's hours anymore. Like everyone would always say, "Oh, like wait till you have kids, you will not
Like baking's
get
the
any
best
sleep."
like job to prepare you for children
Yeah.
in terms of like your sleep schedule.
But
Yeah.
I went from getting up and we'd be coming into work at like 4:30,
Yeah.
and to our kids sleep till like usually 7 or 7:30. So I've actually gone from being a morning person to now, like you said this morning.
Yeah.
Oh wow, you're not a morning person
Yeah.
anymore.
Because we so on Mondays it's our day off, so we were out for a family walk at 8 o'clock, which to me 8 a.m. is like,
Like so
everything's
late.
done already.
Yeah.
Like when I'm at work,
Whereas I'm like still kind of waking up now.
so I'm all like in a great mood and
I hadn't had my coffee
Energetic,
yet.
yeah.
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 But
So do you have to like drink coffee as soon as you get up now for like the
Oh, yeah.
1 o'clock shift?
Yeah, so I'm at Tim Hortons every day at 2:30, and they
They
always
say,
say,
"Have a good
night." I'm like, no, I'm going into
You
work.
gotta train them.
Yeah.
So you're like, no. When I'm
Yeah.
here, it's morning.
Yeah.
it's my morning.
But
Yeah.
no, I have one coffee when I come in, and then 1 or 2 throughout the rest of the day. I used to have like 7 or 8, but I did not feel good after having that many coffees.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
So for you, like, so I know you had the farmers market. People, did you ever do any like promotion to get people to see you at the farmers market, or was it just straight, hey, here I am, here's my product?
Social media a bit in the beginning, but
Yeah.
obviously because we were only doing the market, we didn't have a huge following until we had the store. But yeah, we've never done any paid advertising.
Yeah, we did a tiny bit when we first opened the actual store. We
We
were
did?
promoting
Or-
stuff, yeah.
Oh, sorry. I mean, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
Okay.
like outside of
yeah,
social
like
media.
social media paid
Yeah.
promotion, but outside of social media, we haven't
Yeah.
advertised.
We've always relied on Instagram and Facebook. Those have been our two. I think you were on Twitter when you first started, but we just never carried on.
Probably not
I
ready
don't-
for what you guys are doing.
I don't
Yeah,
really even
yeah.
know how to use Twitter. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
The Instagram by far has been the best way to get
Yeah.
people here. Facebook has been pretty good too.
Yeah.
But our biggest following's on Instagram, and now we can post, anything about our products, and if it's something like it gets a lot of people here.
Yeah.
It's been really good.
So do you find like a lot of people are saying like, I saw this on Instagram?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then on the flip side of that, like, because at the beginning we were definitely doing a lot of trial and error to see what products sold. It's like someone came in on Sunday and they were scrolling through our feed and they went back to 2014. They're like, I want these cupcakes. And we're like, oh, like we don't carry cupcakes anymore.
Yeah.
That's from a few years ago. But I mean that doesn't happen too often. It's just kind of a funny side effect of
Yeah.
being on Instagram. Yeah.
But yeah, I think without Instagram, it would be like if that ever just left, it'd be very interesting to see.
Well,
Yeah.
how much now is like people just like foot traffic coming
There's
in?
so like weekends, I think in the afternoons
Yeah.
especially. There's always just so many people wandering around like Fairy Lake, and then they go do a tour of Main Street
And the Newmarket Farmers Market,
Yeah.
people go to that and then come up here.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've only been on the street for not even 4 years, but people who've been here much longer talk about there's this whole kind of rejuvenation going on at
Yeah.
Main Street, which even in our short time here, we have seen a few new restaurants open up. That's been really good.
Yeah, just our storefront, even when we're closed, like you have so many people walking by that they see it and like, oh, I'll check this out when they're open.
And like I said, people still walk by and go, oh, when did you open
Yeah,
up?
I've lived in Newmarket my whole life.
Yeah, I walk down here all the time, but yeah, I would say foot traffic is big.
Yeah, and like the number of restaurants that are on Main Street now, it's awesome, and like there's I think every type of food you would want, other than maybe Indian.
I was about to say, I don't think there's an Indian.
Yeah,
No.
but there's
There's one that just opened in Aurora that's supposed to be good.
We've
we've been
it's
there
pretty good,
twice,
yeah.
yeah.
And there's a really good Indian restaurant in Unionville that we make the trek out to.
Yeah, but other than that, there's gonna be a noodle shop soon. That's
Yeah, I
opening
saw
up
that.
from Hungry Brew Hubs.
Yep.
Sushi.
Great Mexican. You got good burgers, sushi. Yeah,
Not really, is there not anymore, there's no like Italian place anymore, right?
there will be. So
Joya.
Joya is opening up soon.
Oh,
Well,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're a little delayed, but it should be. That
Yeah.
will then be a
That'd
good
be
Italian
nice,
place.
yeah.
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 So what did you guys do? Like, did you guys like have a targeted strategy on Instagram? Or you just kind of post and see what happened?
I think at the start it was definitely post and see what
See what
happened.
happened. But also, I find that posting, oh, like, here's what we have today, it kind of instills a sense of urgency in our customers. Like, oh, like,
Yeah.
we gotta, like, we'll post something and then we'll get a bunch of phone calls, like, set one aside for me,
Yeah.
set 4 aside for me. So that's,
Yeah.
and that's helpful too, because people like to see when we do, specials or,
Yeah.
yeah.
And when we first started using Instagram, I guess we were just like a personal or a private profile.
Yeah.
Not private.
Well, business
Non-business.
profiles are relatively new.
Yeah, so like when
Yeah.
you switch to business profiles now, which is what we're on, you can see a lot more insights into like your customers, and so we know that it's like 18 to 35-year-old women. That's our biggest like target market. So like
Yeah.
things for like Mother's Day, when we posted like our menu for that and certain
Women
products,
were
you-
taking their husbands.
yeah, you can just like gear.
Yeah, I
And
get
then-
tagged all the time
Yeah.
for stuff.
And then I would get an email, oh, like my wife tagged me in this photo, so I think I'm supposed to order some of these. And I'm like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's definitely helpful for
And then like
that.
Father's Day coming up, I know if we post something for Father's Day, like all the women that are on it, that it's the majority of our following, will get stuff for their husbands or whoever, like their dads, whoever that they,
Yeah.
so.
And then it helps that I'm in that demographic because you take most of the photos for social media, but you usually run them by
Yeah.
me and even Sarah and our other employees,
Yeah.
just because we are
Yeah.
the target demographic.
Yeah. But I think for the most part, we've learned that people like the new products that we make, and like we have some staples that we have here every single day, but I think they know now that Nutmeg is a place you go to just try new stuff, and like the menu is always changing. It frustrates some people that like to order the thing that they got 3 years ago or go back on our Instagram and see that thing from 5 years ago, but we don't do that stuff anymore. Like it's just
And
some stuff's like one and done.
I think people have enough trust in you with the your Cruffin of the month that even if they may not necessarily normally like coconut, this Cruffin is coconut chocolate. Oh yeah, I'll try it. Like I've liked all the other ones I've tried.
Yeah.
So.
I've been eating from you guys for 3 years now. I think I've only read one thing I didn't like.
Yeah. What was that?
It had lavender in it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I think it was a lavender brownie.
Oh yeah.
I was not a big fan.
Yeah.
Tim doesn't.
But that was literally the only thing I ever ate.
Floral flavors are very
and tea. I'm dying for him to do like a tea Cruffin, like an Earl Grey lemon or like a lavender Earl Grey.
I didn't, but I never had your Earl Grey cookies, but Amanda liked
them, yeah. And I feel like Earl Grey or tea flavored things would be very popular for our demographic that is following us, but I don't like that flavor at all, so I wouldn't know if it tastes good or not. I'd have to rely on you guys, but
that's true.
Yeah.
So do you guys ever? Because I know you do the Cruffin of the month. So how far in advance are you planning those?
So I have a list on my phone that's just ever growing.
Yeah.
And then I'll mix and match ideas from that list, and then.
We always have ideas, but sometimes it's not finalized until
so
June. We had a different idea, but we were having a hard time securing some of the ingredients.
Yeah.
So we kind of had to pivot last week.
Yeah.
And
so I think I did the final version of it 2 days before June started. But that's fun. I think for everyone here that's working, and it's to test them and then tweak them. And then finally put them out there. There's a good at least 3 or 4 versions of every one that we test through before we put them out. But
did you ever ask for feedback from customers? Here's what we're thinking of for next month, or is it all in house?
So today.
Yeah. So today we posted a thing that's the 6 Cruffins from every month so far this year, and just seeing which ones people liked. And then I think there seems to be 2 that are very neck and neck. So we'll do probably an Instagram poll. And see if you had to pick one, which would you choose? And then back at Christmas, just after a crazy busy season, we thank people for a great year, and then ask them, I think, for January, would you like the same flavor from a month in the previous year that was popular, or do you want a new flavor? Yeah. And large majority of people said new flavor. So even though we knew a bunch of people liked that one flavor we did last year, they still wanted a new flavor, which you come up with. Yeah. So that was raspberry and lemon. That was So lemon Cruffin was the one we were going to do again because I really liked it, and so we asked people. They said, no, let's do a new one. So we did raspberry lemon instead of just plain lemon. Yeah. But that's when I think we really started to realize that people just like the new stuff to try. And yeah.
So where do you guys get your inspiration for all the different new things you're trying?
I think we do, everything we do is just always related to food.
When we travel, we go to every bakery we pass, we pop into, and we travel.
Yeah.
And we have I have an extensive cookbook collection. I definitely have at least 100 cookbooks, and it's just taking bits and pieces from different elements from different cookbooks, and then seeing how you can kind of bring them together. And I keep a journal with all kinds of ideas that if we're ever stumped for new products, there's flavor combinations or ideas in there, and we're just always thinking about food.
And I never knew these existed, but Meg owns a flavor thesaurus. So it's so it has every single flavor in the world. So it's a huge thick book, and then what goes best with all those flavors. So there's so many combinations of everything. Then if you're doing savory, sweet, but Megan just has that in her head now. So she's the best at knowing what flavors go with what. So if I'm hey Meg, what about a grapefruit chocolate Cruffin? You'd be nah.
So, you tried that one?
I don't know if I have. I feel that. I don't think that would. Yeah. I guess white chocolate would be good. But so yeah, Megan definitely has that or if we go to a bakery, oh, this could be so much better if we did this, or
this. This cookie would translate really well into a Cruffin. Kind of. Yeah.
And then just thinking of Cruffin flavors, I remember for June when we were trying to figure it out, Meg just asked, what's your favorite candy bar from when you were a kid? I was that's a tough one.
I still want to do a milk and cereal one.
Yeah.
A milk ganache with I don't know, some sort of Fruit Loop or Fruity Pebble crumble on top.
And our good friend Shep, he always laughs about how I love Oreos, and I love those white powdered sugar donuts from the grocery store. I've always loved that type of stuff, so now it's translating into some of that into our actual foods.
And I think Sorry.
We sell like those mini cruffins now that are covered in white powdered sugar.
My
That's just
daughter loved it.
Yeah, and
I mean, so did your floor.
Messy, but
they're super messy, but those are I've always loved those donuts from the grocery store, but now I think they're a little bit better with like croissant pastry instead of whatever donut pastry.
And I think you have to have a good combination of like highbrow and lowbrow. So, which I think we do. I mean, your croissants, they're very, like, it's a very sophisticated type of pastry, very classical French, like especially the plain or the chocolate. But then, you know, having fun with like the cruffins and then the cookies, like just more nostalgic items. And then also, like, we carry a few different items in the bakery, like the cold brew or the jam or the honey, where we've like partnered with them and okay, that's cool. How can we work their products into some of our products? So, I mean, that's a good source of inspiration too.
But I think every time we go out and eat, like even if there's a restaurant for dinner, like a savory meal, we can still pull elements from that, and we'll always order dessert as well.
Always.
Write it off.
Yeah.
It's right up. You can write that off.
Yeah.
Write that off.
Yeah, it is. Every time I eat something, I'm always thinking, how can I turn this into something cool?
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but like in my phone in the Notes app, I always have things that I want to try. Yeah.
So how many like test cruffins and things like that do you taste? You're like, oh, that didn't work.
I would say idea-wise, we're always pretty sure of the idea before we test it, but then execution. So, like especially in the summer, making sure things aren't too runny or things aren't going to melt. But in terms of flavor, like we always more or less stick with our idea. It's just more execution.
Because before, when we first opened, we'd sell maybe like a few dozen croissants a day. But now it's like, okay, how do I make like 10 dozen of these cruffins in like 3 hours? Like even when you think of these crazy ideas, it still has to be doable to make enough for
fresh daily.
Yeah.
Is that why like some special cruffins? 'Cause I remember like the Hangover croissant. Which is probably one of my favorite things you've ever put out. But it's never actually sell it. Is that because it's too labor intensive, or?
And that one, I guess like the caramelized onions and bacon in there. It's just. I also don't like to do a lot of meat stuff like in the bakery. We keep it more, I don't know, like
more sweet.
But
with the Mother's Day, that's when you did the Neapolitan cruffins. So that was a kind of one weekend special because it had 3 different types of
There were
ganache.
so many orders for that Neapolitan cruffin, but there was 3 types of ganaches. So every single ganache had to be made and then piped into each cruffin individually. So it's 3 different piping bags, 3 different ganaches. It was a mistake to do it, I think, but people liked it. But that's the fun stuff though, is thinking of the new stuff to me.
Do you have any like fun things coming up that people wouldn't have seen before, or?
I feel like we're going through some changes now with Meg that will make the future a little more interesting for customers, I think. To do with cakes. We can't do everything. We can't do everything.
Without being too specific. We never really set out to be a custom cake bakery. So we do the cakes only to order, because if we bake cakes for the counter and they don't sell, like that's a whole cake that then you have to. We're not going to keep a cake in the counter all weekend because we want it to be fresh. So, but I think we've become more custom than we set out to. Like we're not even that custom as it is, but in terms of like colors and that sort of thing, like we're gonna be moving towards
like this is the cakes we do.
Fewer,
that's it.
Pick one.
But them being more intricate, because there are certain cake flavors that I would like to do, but just with all the orders where things are a little bit customized, it's hard. I don't know. It's hard to put into words.
Like when you want to do, like 30 cakes over a weekend, sure, that's possible. But then if like every single one of those cakes has something different to it, it really slows down how many like your production of them.
I think it was basically the same problem I had in my business. Because like when I started, like every package was custom. Now it's like, here's our packages. And just pick which one, and just from like an efficiency, customer service, like everything is improved. are just like, here's your options, pick one.
And that's
unless someone's paying triple
Yeah.
the regular rate or something.
exactly what we're trying to move more towards. And we hate, because we can only do so many cakes in a weekend, like time-wise and then space-wise. So we hate having to say no to cake orders because we already have X amount of cakes that day. But if we were to sort of streamline, we could take more cake orders, and that would be better for everyone. So
And I think if we when we streamline like that, where everything's just like the way it should be, or the way that it is,
then people know exactly what they're expecting.
yeah, and it's going to be amazing. The only reason you would not like it is because you don't like the flavors like that are in that product, versus if we're tweaking it because you didn't want like that certain type of ganache and you want this instead of that, it might not taste as good because that's not what it was initially set out to be. But if if you were to eat this cake how we made it, that's gonna
It's like when you go to a restaurant, you just order off the menu, right?
No substitution.
Yeah, because the chef knows what goes best together. That's sort of like what we're trying to move towards, but it's
that's
a
what we
process.
are. We're like a small boutique bakery, right? We're not gonna be making a ton of everything, but stuff that we do make will hopefully be pretty.
And that was actually something that when we first opened up, that we sort of had to. It took a while for our customers to get accustomed to the fact that we don't do everything.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for an Italian, bread, well, we don't do that, but here's an Italian bakery you can go to that would make a really good one.
Yeah.
Or if you're looking for cupcakes, like we don't do that, but here's a cupcake bakery. You can, you can't do everything amazingly. That's why we've tried to focus on fewer items, but trying to do them, as best as possible.
I think there's been one time where a customer's called and they ask for something. I'm like, oh, sorry, we don't do that. I'll always refer them to a bakery, either nearby or like in the city. We know of lots, but I think once they've asked for something, I'm like, I'm sorry. I usually recommend a bakery that you could go to, but of course I can't do that. But if we don't do it, then we'll definitely let you know somewhere that you can go get it. That's a place that hopefully does it properly.
Like gluten-free.
Yeah.
Yeah. We get asked every day
Yeah.
for gluten-free, but it's just not something that we do. And even if we were to try and offer gluten-free items, there's no way it would be possible because there's flour in the air. Like
this is a small space.
Like you can't be truly gluten-free. So we just
But
recommend.
This has been my theory. I don't know if it's a theory. But
are you going to insult gluten-free?
No, not at all. If I'm gluten-free, I want to eat good gluten-free products. I don't want to just go to a bakery that's just throwing out a gluten-free product because they know there's people that might want to ask for that. If I'm gluten-free, I'd want to go to that gluten-free bakery that's making awesome gluten-free products. So I always use the example, if I walked into an Italian restaurant, I'm not going to go and ask for sushi, right? That's the kind of analogy I use for here is why would you call this place and ask for what's something that
or it's like if you're vegan, I would want to buy from a bakery that the baker is a vegan also.
Yeah.
They know what's good.
Vegan and gluten-free, it's a completely different set of ingredients that you're using that we are not familiar with at all, so we're not going to play around with it.
We have a couple of products that are incidentally vegan.
Yeah.
Like the bread.
Breads,
but everything else has butter in it. So
there's definitely a strong place for vegan, but eventually we might get to that point, but
for now, in this space, it's just
and
not
we
possible.
can never call it gluten-free. Even if we had all these gluten-free products, it's flourless. Because anything gluten-free has to be made in a very specific way away from anything gluten-related.
It's like
so we could never even offer gluten-free because we'd have to...
Well, it's like peanut-free.
Yeah.
People will say, well, can you write peanut-free on the box? I'm like, you can't. I'm not going to be liable.
Yeah.
We have peanuts in the bakery. We do our best if someone says they have an allergy, but obviously you can never 100% guarantee no cross-contamination. So, you can't please everybody, unfortunately.
So, you refer out, but do you get how do you often respond to people? Say they call about one of the cakes, they're like, "But can you do this?" And you're how do you respond to them now that you're streamlining it to a specific way?
So, this is something that we're easing into it right now. I've kind of set it out, like you said, with the packages, have it down on paper, this is what we can do and this is what we cannot do. So if a customer's looking for a super custom cake, I can just send back the list of, okay, these are the things we can do. So if you want to choose from that, and if you are looking for something more custom, I can recommend you go to this bakery. Like there's a woman in Bradford, Bonnie, who has a bakery, Sweet Bees, and she does custom cakes, and like she's awesome, and I have no problem recommending people go to her if we just can't do what they're looking for. So yeah, and we have had people say, okay, like thanks, I am looking for a custom cake for this event, but in the future, you know, we'll come back to you. So yeah.
And we are too, like we have space for maybe 30 cakes, I think that would be
Like
max.
a day, yeah.
Yeah, like we just don't have the fridge space for it. And especially in the summertime. That's like the hardest thing is when people call and say they want this or that, and we say no, unfortunately we can't do that.
I hate saying no
Yeah.
to cakes, but it is like a matter of space sometimes and hours in a day.
And then it's the fine line of like, okay, how do you keep growing and getting busier and busier, but then also making sure the products never suffer. That's definitely the toughest part, and then you have such limited space too.
So will you guys look at expanding a new store, just getting like a commercial kitchen somewhere, or?
I think
Yeah.
I would hate to give up this storefront.
Yeah, we'd never leave here for
But I do like the idea of having a bigger commercial space just where we could produce products and bring them to the storefront here.
Yeah, I think that's like a lot of like the bigger bakeries that we know of is how they do it, is they have a big commissary kitchen and then they can supply
And then
storefronts.
maybe a couple storefronts, but just only thinking about the one for now.
Yeah. I think we've slowed down with the business. I mean, we're still focused on it, but with the kids, it just, you know, we've had to slow down a little bit.
Yeah.
But
I think long term,
Yeah.
I would like to, I don't know if you agree, have a cafe type.
I think we both have the same vision in our
Yeah.
heads of what we want to end up with in the end.
But it might be way
Yeah.
down the road.
How do we get there is going to be interesting, but I think we both are on the same page of what the final place where we retire or something like that would be.
So do you guys have like, so this is where we want to get to, have you looked at like, here's the steps in between we need to hit, or it's more just right now like this is what I eventually want but I haven't mapped out?
Yeah, I don't know if
Right now,
I'd say we're mapping out components. Like food wise I think we'd be fine, but it's like all the like I guess businessy aspects and growing like in terms of people that you can have to help you.
Like our second baby he's 12 weeks now. Like I've just sort of been in survival mode. Like I've been focusing on, you know, the bakery, like giving 100% to the bakery, but not really thinking too far into the future right now. But
I think so, like having
once the kids are in school, I guess.
Yeah, kind of. Like,
yeah.
And then like having like friends like you, and then just watching other people like how they grow their businesses from nothing into bigger things. I think one of the hardest things you're going to be doing in life.
It's a lot of
so yeah, I think we're doing okay now that we're not thinking too much about the like the minor details of that. I think big like the end product, we know what we're gonna have, and we'll figure it out along the way. I think that's how a lot of businesses do it. Is you just keep going and going and going. Yeah.
Well, I know for the first couple of years for me, it was just like just doing it and then thinking back. Wait, maybe I should have done it this way.
Yeah.
And then trying to fix that going forward, and like just now we're implementing systems that are like efficient and not changing.
Yeah.
But go ahead. No, go for it.
I was going to say, I think having kids does force you to grow your business a little bit.
No.
Like it kind of forced us to do things that we were gonna have to do eventually, but it just gave us the kick in the butt we needed. Like we had employees at the front, but up until I was pregnant with our first, it was just us two baking. So then when I became pregnant, it was like, okay, we've got to bring on another baker. So, you know, we did that, and then that allowed us, when I came back from maternity leave, my 6-week maternity leave, it allowed, now we're offering even more because now there's 3 of us.
Yeah.
So I would say it's a good thing for the business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
So will your plan eventually be that you guys don't bake as much and you got people baking for you, or do you always want to be in there pretty heavy?
I think I would always want to be in the kitchen.
Yeah, I'd say for sure me too, but just not as much, and like a little more of
a work-life balance for you?
Not necessarily like my life. I'd love to be able to come in and just like I'm just gonna think about cruffins today and that's it.
Yeah.
Or like just work on that one idea, just like a little more focused on one specific thing as opposed to like everything as a whole. And then you have people helping you with the day-to-day stuff that we're doing, which I think is what you would want to.
Yeah. But I know even when I'm in and
We
I've
both
got a
love
big
baking. So.
Yeah, some days I come in and I have a big to-do list and Tim will say, Megan, just give that task to Sarah, like Sarah can do it. But then I like doing that task. Like, I don't mind doing it.
But then from a work-life balance like perspective, like now that we have Sarah, we can leave sometimes. And like we'll just go down to the city to do a pickup or an errand or to eat or something, and the bakery just keeps running. So that's pretty cool from that standpoint because we never had that up until fairly recently.
How was that first time when you left?
You know what? We're lucky because
we've had really good people help us. So.
All of our employees have been really trustworthy, and I've never felt, weird about leaving anyone here. So.
Yeah. We've never done. I guess no. I think we've had a couple of times where no one's been here in the morning. Mm-hmm. So it's been like one of our bakers that have like started like opened up the store and did all that. So that was a little tough. We went to the bachelor weekend.
Oh.
That was the first time that the store ever opened up without either of us being here. You were a month.
I came.
Yeah, but you came in like a little later in the morning.
But I opened up. I came for open.
Yeah, but you didn't do any baking.
Oh no.
Yeah. But that's just stuff as we go. We'll figure it out.
Figure it out.
So that'd be like a goal then? Is like you want to get to a point where you can kind of sleep in past 1 a.m.
Yeah, sometimes it'd be
get someone else to get up.
And I think that's where the whole issue of space comes in. If we had more people baking, we wouldn't have to come in, or you wouldn't have to come in so early. But we really can't fit any more people back there than we are already back there.
3 people working. Baking is the most that we can fit in the back in terms of like workspace, and then just
the ovens.
Where is everything going, and then how we're gonna bake everything.
Like fighting over the ovens. Like, well, I need to get the cookies in. Well, I need to get this in.
On Saturday mornings now, so Saturday mornings from 8 a.m. till 12 p.m. is our busiest time. We're at the point now where like there's stuff that's just waiting to go in the oven that, like especially breads and croissants, when it gets so hot, you just need to get that stuff baked at a certain point. And the oven's getting backlogged for those few hours because so many people come in that short time span that our ovens can't pump out enough. But we have a small oven that we've had since day one. Mm-hmm. It's still going. It's not even meant for like heavy industrial use. It's a commercial oven, but it's pretty small. Once that dies, we'll get a bigger oven, so that should help us out again.
And then we also have the big oven.
And then
we don't just have the one.
Yes, we have 2 ovens total that are always going, but we'll just keep working our way up. I did Facebook ads when we first opened for a few months, but then we would sell out some days, and then after it happened a few times, I'm like, wait, I don't want to be advertising for people to come here, but then when they come here, there's nothing for them to buy.
Well,
so you could set it up though that it could be like, okay, only run until like 11 a.m.
Yeah.
Because like if most days are sold out by noon.
Yeah.
Right.
Have it stop at 11 a.m.
Yeah.
But
then it's just like by 11 a.m. it's just empty.
That's why you pick the time that works, right?
We talked about that effect when you see something on Instagram, and it seems
like the Instagram allure.
Yeah, like if we post something in the morning and you show like the full counter and it just seems like we have everything, but then someone comes at like 4 p.m.
and it's just
like this isn't what I saw on Instagram this morning. Yeah. Like you don't want to, but that's why what's nice about Instagram too is with the stories you can be like, oh, sold out of croissants, but we have lots of cookies left. Like just so people stay updated and they don't come in and we don't have what they're looking for.
It's been one of the hardest parts, I think, is like getting people to know that we bake everything fresh. Yeah. So can I place an order or come early? If you come in the afternoon, there might not be.
I've been here sometimes like 11 and there's half the stuff's gone.
Those days are fresh. Like those days are. It's awesome good. Because wow, we've sold everything and like people came, but then it's frustrating because croissants take 20 hours to start to finish,
with
so
cookies,
we can't just whip them up.
We can make more cookies and bars pretty easily, but the croissants are a whole thing. Yeah.
I think we figured out for certain products like cookies and bars, and just have to make sure that they're always present, but then cakes and croissants and that stuff, we just,
When we're out, we're out.
yeah. Because it's a whole week of prep that takes, yeah.
So what's like the long? Because I know like you were talking one time, like you were making a piece of bread for like 3 years or something.
Oh.
Yeah, so
Your
sourdough.
starter.
Yeah, so sourdough is like it uses a starter, which is just flour and water. That's it, mixed together every single day. So then, after a few days, it pulls bacteria from the environment, the air, and it starts fermenting. And then that fermentation process is what you use to make the bread. So the starter that we use is now 3.5 years almost. It's January 2015 that I started it. It took me 2 months to really like get it going, and then it's been fed mostly every day, sometimes every other day. It's like on our off days it has a break, but it's been fed mostly every single day for the last 3.5 years. Flour and water. So that means when we go on vacation, I'm either taking it with us, so it's gone to Brooklyn, it's gone to Montreal, or I get my dad to babysit it, and he mixes it every single day with like
So it's an older baby than your
I was
actual
gonna say,
children.
this starter is
Yeah.
basically our first baby.
And then we have some of it frozen in the freezer because if anything ever happened to it, you have something reserved because it is a lot of time that has gone into making that. So then if you go to Europe, you have bakeries that have been using starters for hundreds of years, like they're handed down generation to generation. So once you have an active starter, it takes usually minimum 24 hours to make one loaf of bread. And then croissants don't use that starter, but they use it's called a coolish, which is like fermented flour, water, with the yeast. So that takes at least 20 hours. And we've done stories on Instagram before about like, this is how you make croissants, not with the full recipe, but those really help people because, okay, I'm not going to try making those.
It
That's
kind
gonna take
of,
forever. I'm just going to come here and buy it.
yeah, it just gives people a little insight into why when we sell out, we can't just make more, and also why, unlike when you go to the grocery store and buy a package of croissants for like $2 for like 8 of them, or however much it is, like in those plastic clamshells, it's a different process. Yeah.
But sourdough is really, it's taken, it's gotten a lot of popularity in the last few years because it's a little bit healthier. If you're going to be eating bread, it's a little bit healthier. It's a healthier way to eat bread. So not if you're celiac, but if you're gluten intolerant, it's a little bit more digestible by your body. And so that's a reason that's become a lot more popular. So
I know you guys also like supply local restaurants with bread.
Yeah.
Is that like an avenue you guys chased or just kind of showed up?
So
Just kind
all of them,
organically.
literally the people that worked at those places walked into the bakery and asked us if we wanted to do that for them. I was like, okay, sure. It's, like both of them have been, so there's 2 places that we supply mainly that are pretty busy as well, so we're doing a lot of bread for them, and it's an awesome, I guess it's a way of advertising too, because we're on their menu is this is where we get our bread from.
Yeah.
And
Lots of people come in from little brew hops and say, oh, I had your sourdough. It's a good relationship.
Yeah. But I think we were just making the bread, and I think it was pretty tasty. A little bit different than what like you get at the grocery store, and then once people try that, they say, hey, maybe we could use this in our products, and that's what happened with them, and it worked out pretty well.
And you guys, I noticed like because you're on the main street, there's all like parades and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So was it your guys' idea to like do like your free hot chocolate things, or is that like the town coming and asking you to, or how does those work?
The BIA kind of.
Yes, it was like the Business Association for Main Street. They actually fund the hot chocolate giveaway on Candlelight Parade Day around Christmas.
Yeah.
And then we just carried it on into the Saturday, and we did it like as a fundraiser, so like accepted donations with Good Vibes on Main next door. But then I don't think we did it this past year just because the space.
On the Saturday?
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of space. But it is, there's always, whether it's on Main Street or down at the Riverwalk Commons, like 2 weeks. So next weekend is Pride Parade.
And a craft beer festival.
And a craft beer festival. And the farmers market's going on. Like it's just going to be a really busy Saturday.
Coming up like Friday night for Saturday.
Well, so when there's huge events like that, so like the parades and and different festivals that are going on, the actual store, like sales-wise, like people buying
It doesn't
large. It's not
always shrink.
Yeah, it translates into more people finding out about us, but not necessarily that day being really busy, because it's a different demographic. That it's like families with lots of kids, and it's not people. And like a lot of our regulars can't even get to the storefront because there's no parking.
Yeah.
And they don't even bother coming down that day because they know it's going to be so busy. But we do get a lot of people coming in that like have never heard about us before. That could then go follow us or come in another time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So how much time do you guys now spend like working on the business instead of like just baking and that side of it? And how much is actually like business time?
You handle most of the
Like business.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the hardest thing for me when we first started was the numbers side of things and the accounting. And, I was terrible. So that took me about 1.5 years where I really dove into it because I didn't know anything about that stuff in my past life. And then once I realized how complicated it was and that I'm never going to be doing this if I want to still bake all the time, I have handed that off to like a bookkeeping service, and then we have another accountant. So that's been a bit of a relief to get that off.
Payroll, you already.
Yeah, payroll I had some idea with.
Yeah.
But so that was the hardest part. That was really causing me a lot of stress for like I guess 1.5 years or so. But once that got relieved, now it's more just.
So I would say I'm more the big picture person.
Yeah.
Like, well, and I also try and maintain the website, like make sure everything's up to date. Have to update the June Creven.
I think there's like all that stuff like you do, but I don't think we really. I mean, you count it as work, but like you just do it whenever you have time, and like you never really like. It just gets done. You know, like there's that.
You can't think about it too much,
Yeah.
or it'll. I don't want to say depress you, but, like.
Because I think
You just
we're
have to
always
do it.
technically working, whether
Yeah.
it's thinking about stuff we're going to be doing or just the little day-to-day things that have to get done in between all the other bigger stuff.
I would say in general, I try not to think about work too much on Mondays.
Yeah.
But the rest of the week, it's like 24/7. Like I'm checking my email all the time, and
Yeah. I think it's really important that you have like just one day at least where you can kind of. So that's definitely Mondays for us now. Is mostly, other than this, and then take out garbage on Monday nights. That's like the only thing that we have to do. But then Tuesdays is we're closed, but
it's
it's almost a full day of running errands
Yeah.
and prep and all that stuff. But yeah.
But when you love what you do,
Love taking out that garbage.
Well, that's the thing. What's the saying that like when you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life?
Yeah.
I think it's the opposite. The second part, like when you love what you do,
you'll
always be doing it because you love it, and like it's yes, you love it, but it's still work. Like it's still but I think if you love what you do and you'll never work a day in your life. If like you're not working for yourself. Do you like 1 or 2 day travel trips to New York or Chicago?
Do you like the jet set lifestyle?
I always think, I personally think I would love that if I were to go back and like.
Actually awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you just
for the
love
most part.
hotels.
Yeah.
I sleep so much better in hotels, to be honest. But no, I love traveling. So like what I've tried, like for instance, I'm going to Chicago soon, so like that it won't work because it's like same day in and out.
Yeah.
What I normally try to do is anywhere I go now, I try to add at least one day to like explore.
Yeah.
Because like I've done a couple, like for instance, I've been to Vancouver 3 times now. I've only actually spent 1 day looking around Vancouver, and I've been there 3 times.
Yeah.
Just because like it's always been like in and out and things like that. So now I'm always trying to book extra time wherever I go, even if it's just 1 day. So like I went to England recently. It's a long way to go. I only saw London for 1 day.
Yeah.
But because of jet lag, it was like I didn't get up till noon. So I really only had like 8 hours to actually see London. But no, I love the travel side of it. But then there's like little things like you learn the tricks of like making travel better, like a Nexus, for example.
Do you have it?
Oh,
Yeah.
it's so much better. Like you'll see people like lined up like 200 deep, and you just walk around them.
You know what else is the Nexus Pass?
The
Babies.
kids? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But not every place does that. It's like we traveled to Florida, and the baby, like, so when we went to San Francisco, the baby got us right in.
Yeah.
Went to Florida, did nothing. Nexus, go walk around.
Yeah.
And then because I travel so much now, I actually get free lounge access. So when I finally do get through, I just go hang out in the lounge.
Yeah.
Which on the way there, it's not a big deal when I leave here, because with Nexus, I know I have to show up like 40 minutes before. And I basically just like walk through security onto the plane.
Yeah.
So I can time it pretty well. Where it's nice is on the way back. Because like if I do a conference like 9 to 5, I have to take, that means like the earliest I could take is like a 7:30 flight, depending on like how far from the airport you are. But so it's like sometimes you're like, you finish at 5 and the next flight's at 9. So you have 4 hours to kill. Being able to go sit in like a lounge with like an open bar and dinner and Wi-Fi, so much nicer to travel that way than like, I'm gonna go like sit on the floor next to the gate. And then they change the gate and I almost missed my flight or something.
You're playing cards?
Yeah. You got it. Alright, so if people want to get a hold of you, find out about you, taste your food, how do they get a hold of you?
So Instagram is probably the best spot to take a look at us,